All right, let's talk Mahomes here. Offense hasn't been rolling. Now, it did ultimately finally get its act together in the second half of this game, so we'll talk about kind of what switched, what ultimately went right. But I still think it's fair to say this was not the offensive performance you wanted when you set out to play against a team that gave up 1,000,000 points last week to Dallas. Let's talk about what went wrong, and the receivers are a big part of this, right? You see this, it's a one-on-one matchup on this play. They're going to try and hit Hollywood Brown, who, again, has done some nice things in the league. This is a pure one-on-one matchup, 3rd and 10, obvious passing situation. Okay, well, let's see what they can do. The Chiefs used to be elite in these obvious passing situations. Mahomes is going to take the snap and looks over, is going to fire here towards Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown, whatever you want to call him. There's not much separation, but it's a route that can work. Again, this team just isn't getting separation, so you kind of just have to try and make a play work. And this throw, while a catchable ball, it's a competitive ball, but good play by the defensive back. Let's give him some credit here. But ultimately, that was covered from the jump. That was Andrew Phillips who made the play. Give him some love, but ultimately not just. You're not getting guys open. You're not being able to make the play. It's hard for an offense to operate when this is happening. Like there was also this one where Mahomes going to hit Juju Smith-Schuster, who's still getting a ton of meaningful snaps. I don't hate him as a depth player, but probably get having to be more than a depth player. He could have made that catch, wasn't quite able to. Wasn't the best throw from Mahomes either. That's totally fair to say. And then some miscommunications going on. So first you have this one where it's going to be Mahomes going to try and hit Tyquan Thornton. Watch how they are going to take the snap, runs this play action. The play works, and Mahomes is trying to get this ball to Tyquan Thornton in a hurry. The issue is it's too quickly for Thornton. He doesn't have his head turned around. Mahomes, hits a spot, and Thornton just, again, was a little late in getting his head turned around. That was a big catch if they were on the same page. And you even saw Mahomes kind of did the Aaron Rodgers and made it clear right after, hey, you got to run that route better. He was motioning. He was saying, you got to get your head turned around. So that was 3rd and 1. They weren't able to convert there. But also this, which is just weird, and this has been happening with Kelce and Mahomes, and I don't understand why. Is Kelce spending too much time with Taylor Swift? Okay, I'm not going to speculate on their personal lives, but, this is the thing that's happening. Mahomes takes the snap. You see Kelce's going to run this route. He turns around. He's open right here for a check down. It's nothing crazy, but hey, there's some yards here. Can't go broke making a profit, right? And, hey, Kelce with the ball in his hands, tough to bring down. But watch how Kelce just keeps drifting towards the middle of the field, whereas Mahomes looked elsewhere and then looked back to throw it to Kelce, and by the time he got back to Kelce had moved a little bit. I know it just looks, on film, it just looks like he just missed the throw, but that's a communication thing. These guys aren't on the same page, and how are they not on the same page? They're known for having this great chemistry. Well, this season they don't have it. Going over to play like this, so much of Mahomes' game right now is scrambling, and even on this play. So it's a quarters coverage concept, which means you have 3 players over the middle of the field. And why do you run this concept if you're the Giants? Well, because you have 11 guys watching Mahomes. It's 3rd and 12. You know he can scramble. This is the way you can do that. Watch how when Mahomes takes the snap, he's going to look right here and, navigating the pocket. One underrated aspect of Mahomes' scrambling that I think doesn't get talked about ever, not even enough ever, is Creed Humphrey, the center. He does such a good job on these double team blocks and pass protection that it often gives Mahomes a running lane to go forward if he wants to. Mahomes elects to do that. He's going to run, and he's going to manage to pick up this first down. Again, with the quarters coverage, even if everyone's watching Mahomes, only 3 players over the middle, he can find a way to get a gap, and he picks up the first down, except there was a flag on the offense. It's Jawan Taylor, not being properly set, which it was, I believe it was him being too far behind the center, which is a thing that he always does. Going over here, Taylor had a rough day at the office. You see one-on-one matchup right here. Watch as Brian Burns just runs him over. Mahomes has to throw that one quickly. They're not able to, still was almost a completion, but not able to get the first down on 3rd down. So again, that's an issue. The blocking, I actually don't think is quite as bad as last year, but it's honestly pretty similar, just different, right? Because they had such a left tackle issue last year. Now that's been better with Josh Simmons, but it's still not great because he's a rookie learning and getting better. Then you have Kingsley Sumatea, who's been kind of not great at guard, and then Jawan Taylor, who isn't great at right tackle. So now they're down to only 3 good players with the loss of Joe Thuney, so that's an issue as well. Now again, something like this, the athleticism of Mahomes and his ability to move is still such an asset for this offense. Watch as he's going to take the snap, and I don't know how he does this, but you see he's moving forward because there was starting to be pressure off the edge, but now there's a defensive lineman kind of right in his face. What does he do? Well, watch him just kind of have a little stutter step. He jukes out that lineman, gets outside the pocket, and keeps his eyes downfield, finds Juju Smith-Schuster. Again, this is a ridiculously good play from Mahomes, and we're seeing those types of ridiculously good plays. We are. We also, like, it's fair to say, are seeing some not great plays from Mahomes, and in fact, sometimes we're seeing them both on the same play. So, like, heading over here, this was a play that was much talked about when it happened. Watch Pacheco, because that's a thing we have to bring up. Is the running game hasn't been great. Part of that is the loss of Joe Thuney. Part of that is the running backs aren't spectacular. And honestly, it's been okay when they've done it. They just kind of have gone away from it. But anyway. Besides the point, watch Pacheco on this play. You see he's going to chip Brian Burns and kind of gets bumped to the point where he turns the wrong way. He turns back towards the end zone, which is not how you want your hips turned. And I don't know exactly why he does this. I'm assuming it was just he was trying to block Burns. Eventually ends up here. I get why this thing can go wrong. Mahomes throws it to where, he's expecting it. But honestly, even if Pacheco was facing that way, I think the throw was just too hot and too outside. I don't think Pacheco catches it either way. Mahomes somehow finds a way to rip the ball out of a linebacker's hands and keep it for himself. Great job by him. But, because that was a touchdown waiting to happen. So that's the great part of the play. But also, you can't be doing this. Can't be throwing the ball on the ground. And in fact, he did that another time earlier in the game as well. So those are two turnover-worthy plays, right? That's a mistake waiting to happen. And heading over here, there was another turnover-worthy play. This one, it's a cover 3 zone that the Giants are in, and you have a deep shot. And, usually the way this works is the deep shot is designed to take the safety away. Safety has to go deep. It opens up stuff over the middle. If the safety doesn't stay deep, then what you do is, you throw a deep, right? Mahomes takes a snap. This is going to once again be Tyquan Thornton running the route because that's what he does. He's a very fast receiver. And honestly, if Mahomes pushes this down the field, it feels like there's a touchdown opportunity on this play. And there's really no other way to get around this. This is just not a great throw. Watch, that really probably should have been picked off. And listen, he was under pressure. He's throwing at his own 25-yard line, trying to get it all the way to the opponent's 30-yard line. Probably, really, honestly, ideally trying to get to the opponent's 20-yard line. That's a difficult throw. But also, you're the one making that decision, and for Mahomes, he's known for being at least in his heyday, was known for being the best downfield passer of all time. I think it's okay to be critical of him. If Mitchell Trubisky couldn't make this throw, okay, whatever. I don't expect it from him. I do expect it from Mahomes, and he didn't give it there. Although he did follow it up with this play, which was just absurd. So again, tie game, 23 seconds left. Mahomes is going to take the snap. A lot of stuff to break down. Just, again, not even really X's and O's, but just what he's able to do. Good protection, but eventually it breaks down. There is going to be pressure. First, he's going to outrun a defensive tackle. Okay, that's a defensive tackle. Well, now you got not just any off-ball linebacker. You have Abdul Carter, who is this elite athlete, edge rusher who is playing off-ball linebacker just kind of due to have Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau trying to figure out how to use everybody. But watch Mahomes get around him as well. He's so difficult to bring down. Everyone likes to say, it's because everyone's afraid to hit him. And listen, there is some of that, but some of it is just he's impossible to bring down. He decides to throw it down the field, and this is just a pure jump ball. It's an arm punt, basically, on first down because there's only 10 seconds left on the clock, and they need a play. And this is a penalty, which, by the way, that's just a horrible decision to make a penalty. That is a penalty. He grabbed him. Let him make the catch and tackle him, and the half is over. The Chiefs are out of timeouts. That's just a bad decision, but it's still a tremendous play from Mahomes, and it did feel like this kind of gave them some life. I think us analytics people always kind of make fun of it when someone will say you want to go into the half with momentum, right? Because really, no, you want to go into the half with more points, right? But having the momentum, having that field goal, I think it maybe just gave them some life and gave them some confidence because they really did play great in the second half. And it wasn't just X's and O's. Like this, you have Kelce and Mahomes, they're not going to go away from each other. And watch what happens on this play. Watch the route from Kelce. Watch as he's going to kind of fake as though he's going over the middle, gets to the outside and is able to make the grab, picks up a big gain. That's the Travis Kelce we know, right? Travis Kelce we know and love, or Travis Kelce and know and hate, depending on who you are. But it's a great play by him. And it's a good chemistry with him and Mahomes, right? Later on, you saw this sequence where it's Tyquan Thornton running a go route one-on-one matchup. And again, for Tyquan Thornton, he was picked 50th overall by the New England Patriots, but he was kind of projected to be like an early fourth rounder. That was one of those Bill Belichick years where he's drafting players a lot earlier than people think they should go. Kind of just mostly known for his speed, being tall and fast, but doesn't have a ton else to his game. However, on this play, you see, being tall and fast, he can just run by the corner who is trying to cover him, and now you have an opportunity to make the play. Hey, you don't need a ton else when you can run a 4-3 sometimes. Mahomes makes this throw, and okay, well, you need something else. You need to be able to catch the football. He was not able to catch the football, bobbled around, wasn't able to haul it in, so you're like, oh man, that was, another opportunity wasted by the Chiefs. But then what happened on the third down? First, watch Mahomes on this play. Mahomes is going to just watch how he throws this, where there's pressure off the edge, and you see him. He's gonna. This is like you could put this on a logo or something. The way he throws off balance like this, it's become iconic because we know he's going to make an accurate throw. Again, this is really just a jump ball, which I gotta say, I don't know if I love that decision. It's a one-on-one matchup, but you want to make sure you get a field goal and go up 2 scores. Again, I'm being lame. Who cares? Let's just watch the fun play. You see Mahomes going to make a ridiculous throw, and honestly, this is a great catch. I don't get how Thornton drops the first one and then somehow makes this. That's an amazing catch, but gives Thornton some confidence, and maybe part of it is, hey, this is a long season, and I want to show Tyquan Thornton that I trust him to throw it up there, even if he can't quite make the play. It helps him with confidence going forward. I'm probably just making excuses. I don't love that decision. I don't. Also over here, I don't love this decision. It's a 3rd down and 4. 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. The game is over if you get a first down. It's probably over if you don't get a first down. Mahomes takes the snap. He's going to look down the field. There's a deep shot, but again, this is just another jump ball to these receivers. And I don't know. It feels like the one way you could lose this game is if the Giants get a turnover. I guess the way he's thinking it, it's an arm punt. It's not that different than if you just have to punt the ball away. But still, I don't. It's not ideal. You don't want to do this. This one also part of why it's not ideal is it wasn't a great situation. It probably should have been intercepted. So a lot of turnover-worthy plays, but ultimately they're playing a fire and they're not getting burned, at least in this game. I do think there's a lot of stuff they have to clean up, though. Have to clean up the miscommunications. They have to block better. Jawan Taylor has to block better and stop making penalties. But with Mahomes' ability to scramble, and he still can throw down the field, if they can get a little bit more there, it can keep them afloat until, again, they need those other receivers back, though, before this is going to be a great offense is kind of how I view all of this. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Ended up being a longer video than I had intended, so hey, if you made it to the end of this, I appreciate it. If you're interested, I do have a movie channel where I talk about movies, some movie reviews, things like that. You can check that out if you want. The link is in the description below. It's called Jackson Kruger Movies. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Mahomes. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.